Hey, up next on the Marmy Rock Show, just discussing this off air a little bit, we've got one of our regulars, Lenny Cerzosie, and a kind of new regular, I guess I'd say, Jim Taylor with us. So let me kind of give the rundown here. We've got Lenny Cerzosie and Jim Taylor of The Mind Factor, The Infinite Staircase, Le Projet, 1818, a dual collaboration between the two, and whatever else they're working on, they're going to tell us about tonight, guys. Welcome.
Indeed.
God,
hey, thank you.
Know everything that we're doing.
No. We do things based on a dare, so.
So if I read that too fast, so like Jim Taylor's here. Jim has been working with Lenny, and I believe his part. We'll talk a little bit more about the relationship with the Infinite Staircase now. Jim's in 1818, and Lenny, of course, is in The Mind Factor, The Infinite Staircase, and Le Projet, and they've got a lot going on. And guys, so first thing I want to ask you both about is the trip to Atlanta. Start telling us about what happened in Atlanta.
Atlanta's a fun place.
Yes.
You know, yeah, I mean, you've been with us a couple times with Morgan. You know Morgan and all the guys from Seven Dust and everything. And you remember in Baltimore, we were all chill. We were doing our session with the Mind Factor, and Morgan was out there just by chance and everything. And he was like, y'all got to come back to Atlanta. Now, of course, in a perfect world, everybody could just drop everything and get on the plane and just go to Atlanta and record for a week, right? But, so Jim and I were able to figure out a way to get out there, and, we ended up hanging out at Rose's place, and showed us a Corey studio and everything.
Yeah.
And it just turned into this thing, and, I think I sent you a couple of those clips. It was just, the Mind Factor was invited out there. That was the funny thing too, because you were out there running a session in Baltimore, and nobody could do it. So we were like, well, let's do something.
Right.
So that's how it started. As far as the Atlanta sessions go.
For folks that don't know, you mentioned rather matter-of-factly Corey's studio. For folks that may not know who Corey is, you want to elaborate a little bit?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we're actually talking about Corey Lowry. Yeah. Lowry is, most, I don't know who knows him from what in terms of Stuck Mojo or,
Dark New Day with his brother Clint.
Yeah, he's like everywhere and everything. And Clint, of course, is his brother in Seven Dust.
And actually now lead guitar for Seether.
Yes, Corey is now the official lead guitar player for Seether, and they're going on tour with STP right now in Europe.
And as Lenny's mentioned to me, I think about this all the time, Lenny, since you mentioned this one time, that how small the kind of rock and roll world really is. I never thought about it till you brought that up one night, and now I see more and more evidence of it all the time.
Yeah, right. Like, it's so crazy, man. Especially, even, like I said, you and I have been in so many scenarios where it's like, wow, I didn't know you know this person, too. And we're always constantly like, because you're just in the scene, quote unquote, the scene. But I like to think, at least, what it comes down to is the coolest people in the industry stay cool.
Absolutely.
Everybody kind of goes toward that and revolves around that. Uses, but utilizes. We use those two words are very different. Use, utilize, totally different. And we always talk about that. And it's all about keeping it cool. And the community, even just like the whole Shiprock thing. So I know you guys love Shiprock. I'm still yet to be on one. Jim and I might be on this one, but we still don't know, because it's just one of those things where it's just like, I'll be honest, that might be bad, because I think I know every single person that's going to be on that boat. Right?
Well, it's one of the questions I was going to ask you a little later on. We're hoping you're on it. It will be something. It doesn't matter if you never. It is an experience you will never forget. Even though I know you've had amazing experiences, but it's something I can't even describe to you to make you appreciate how cool it would be. So I hope you're on there, man. I hope you're both on there.
There is a pretty good chance, and I really do appreciate it. And the funny thing is, I've had so many friends say the same thing, and I even have friends who are like, dude, you can stay in my room. I'm like, no, that's called the stowaway. You can't do that. That's not
that scene in Titanic where where they have the Irish party? It's like that, except it's one big mosh pit, and it's that's what I envision Shiprock to being, but that's just my inflated fantasy.
I actually envision it more like the Futurama episode where they're in space on the Titanic.
Oh yeah.
And the funny thing,
3 billion layers.
the funny thing about it is there really isn't a mosh pit vibe because it doesn't happen on the boat because you're out at sea. They just can't have people like moshing and stage diving because there ain't nowhere to take you.
No, exactly. Yeah, really.
But
well, seriously though, I do. I'll be honest. I know so many like awesome friends, and every like whether they're artists, DJs, or just fans, whatever, that love Shiprocked. And Jesus, we're not even being I don't think we're being paid to promote Shiprocked.
No, but you know what? We always it's
But the
just
funny thing
it's the
is,
culture.
it's like everybody's there, and I have so many people that constantly like, dude, how come you've never been on Shiprocked yet? I'm like, because it might be my last tour. That's why.
Well, hey, I want to get to a couple questions about some music here. So, I got kind of 3 tunes I want to ask you about, and the first one you shipped over was I guess it's really the new Mind Factor tune, which is called Hope. So, tell me a little bit about that tune.
Yeah, what's funny about that song is we, my guys in Mind Factor are from Baltimore predominantly, but now our guitar player Brian is from now he lives in Delaware. So it's hard for us all to get together. I was like, hey guys, let's get the Dirty Jersey. JD was available, Black Label Society representing, and he was like, yeah, bring the dudes in, and why don't you guys just do a practice here? Instead of paying to practice somewhere, bring them on here, and let's do this, and we'll record everything, whatever you guys play, And Hope was actually one of the songs we jammed on, totally just jammed on, and I started, throwing it was all about my mom and all that kind of stuff, and it started to really, so now it's out there. I think it's on like CD Baby and all that kind of stuff, but we haven't really did a real push on it yet. But that's where Hope came from, and it's just like it's the Mind Factor song. We're trying to kind of bring the Mind Factor to where we are now. Like Mind Factor has such a history, and Ray was so awesome and so unique and everything, and we're not trying to change anything. We're just trying to progress, move on, and keep going and keep creating. So Hope for us, has been the next step for us. Yeah.
Now,
I actually think.
Go
ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
I actually think the genesis of that song, you guys were there. You're right. Am I crazy? No, you're right. Well, I am crazy, but but no. I think the genesis of that, there was a couple songs during those sessions in Baltimore. I'm pretty sure you guys heard some of that, and I won't embarrass Len, but Len had just had a surgery. Yeah, and he was dissuaded from singing. He was like, hell with that. I'm swinging for the fences. And he kept singing, and then after they cut off the mic, he's there doubled over.
I do remember that, yeah.
That's hard and a half, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
Even though we did start that at JD's, we were in Baltimore at Frank's, and yes, I was holding my hernia in.
Yeah,
I was crying.
You said it, I didn't. I wasn't going to say it.
Like, I literally, yes, you guys were there, witnessed me holding my crap in as much as I could while I tried desperately to sing, and then finally everybody was like, dude, just stop. You might want to go to the ER.
It's going to internally combust.
Well, so hey, 2 more tunes. I got a couple more things to ask you and Jim both about. So the other tunes we want to talk about, and I want to spin them tonight. The next one is Just So You Know. So tell me a little bit about that one.
Oh yeah,
that one. So that was the one that after that Baltimore session where my private parts almost fell off on the microphone stand. Morgan was like, "Hey man, when you heal, why don't you bring the Mind Factor to Atlanta, and why don't we play, at Corey Lowry's studio and do some stuff? You guys all stay in my house and stuff." And that's when it was like, "Oh yeah, that's great," but not everybody could, families, schedules, all that kind of stuff, So Jim and I were like, "Well, all right, well, we got a couple days." We went out there, and that's where we were. Just so you know, and the way that one went was Corey was like, "Well, what are we doing?" And we all thought we were doing one song. We're just going to do this one song. Blah, blah. And it was about my mom, slowly passing away from ALS. But then after that kind of, he was like, well, are we going to do more? And then that's where we are now. There's like 5 more songs after that. But yeah, just so you know, is a little different from the other songs we did. We went a different route with the other songs. But this particular song was really just like, all right, we're going to go out to Atlanta for a couple of days and just kind of release a little bit. But it's straight up. The song is definitely all about, my mom's experience of, passing away from ALS. But it's crazy because Corey was able to, like, I doubt many people even realize that a lot of the guitar parts are actually mandolin, which Jim's playing electric mandolin.
Yeah.
And Jim and Corey came up with this crazy sound to make it kind of sound like the Edge from U2, but he's playing an electric mandolin.
Yeah, and that's actually something that, well, with Lenny's style of guitar and vocally, I wanted to create something that wasn't, when people see, a mandolin, they're like, oh, bluegrass, Ricky Skaggs, that kind of thing, which is great. I love that. But where I wanted to be was, working with delays and working with reverb and things like that. So that's even whether if we're TIS as the two of us or with a full contingent, we wanted to translate these not only as a duo, but they could easily be translated with a band, but at the same time carry that ethereal quality. And that's why I didn't want to sit and shred left and right. I don't do that. I didn't want to do that, but I remember, so they started, Morgan and Lenny had started working vocally, and they came with this chord progression, and then I was like, well, let me, try this broken arpeggiated thing. And right then it sank in for me. I'm sitting here with Len, with Corey Lowry, and with Morgan Rose, and I was like, wow, I have their albums and their posters when, and so Morgan goes, I started writing a part, and Lenny's like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, cool, and I do this, and then I hear, whoa, stop. I'm like, oh, God. And immediately froze, and he's like, do that again. And literally, he'll come up to you, and Lenny will attest to this during the Le Projet sessions. He'll come up, and he'll point at your fretboard, do this, 3 times, go. And my brain processed that, but my hand went, no. But it worked out. So
at Think Loud Studios, he was there for a lot of the stuff at Think Loud, where he saw it when Morgan's like, "Hey man, do this," and you're like, "Dude, you have 10 thumbs." I was talking about. I have no idea what you're talking. But then he takes the guitar and does this thing, and you're like, okay, I've been playing my guitar for 20 years, and I don't know how to duplicate that.
how did you do that? And each of us have pictures of Lenny with his guitars, me with my mandolins, and literally Morgan and Corey both hold them going, okay, we're going to do this with it. And it's the coolest thing ever. So,
it is something.
Even Corey in particular.
It is something I've had the privilege of beholding in person, and it is an absolutely fascinating thing to watch what you're talking about. So yes, I wanted you to update folks because I guess Jim is official, like the Infinite Staircase now. So talk about that band for a minute. So I guess there it is. You're official, right? And part of the band, right?
Am I, Len? Am I okay? Okay.
We'll talk later, man.
We'll talk after this.
I think you're listed on the Facebook page. So I'm
really like the thing that the Infinite Staircase has always been, fun about is it's an umbrella. Really, it's been always a revolving door of things. And Jeff, my brother Jeff, and I, we still work together and all that kind of stuff. We have different things, and life is what it is, So the Infinite Staircase now, that was one of the issues actually we're trying to figure out with the Atlanta sessions, because it's it's different than anything we've done before, but it's still the Infinite Staircase. So we were talking about how are we going to label this? We're like, well, why should we label it? Why don't we just continue as
make it different?
But it doesn't matter if it's right. So we just keep going, right? So that's where we are, and we have. I don't know how many I said, but we have what Jim, like 5 or 6 songs in Atlanta.
Oh, and that's Atlanta, and yeah, it's almost like geographically, what you mean, and it's funny how distinctive the different sessions are. But go ahead, Lenny, you'll explain that.
Oh no, because like Bob Pantella from Monster Magnet and Atomic Big Tracks and everything. He's the closest. We go to him. We have a couple of songs we have with him. Yes, from Black Label. He's not too far from there, Keyport, New Jersey. We have our thing with him. So what we do is we kind of call it the JT sessions, the Bob sessions, the Atlanta sessions, because it's all sincere, but it's all different. It's all
even sonically, the core of it. With what Lenny and I do, the core of it is, you have the string instruments and the vocals and all that. But it's one of those you can add to it or subtract, but you're still going to retain that sound. It's almost like. I mean, you guys remember Tantric, and they're still doing their thing.
Yeah, Tantric is a great new album. They just released tomorrow, actually, believe it or not.
Oh, that's what I thought. I knew they had something coming out.
Yeah,
they're good dudes. Yeah, they're good dudes.
Absolutely.
Morgan's rep for them too. Morgan knows everybody.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to retain that acoustic sound, but with the power. I mean, these guys are all in, if you want to label it, the hard rock or nu metal genre. But we wanted to take, the nu metal power and apply it to something that was a little more acoustic and ethereal, and at times industrial. Especially with the Atlanta sessions. It's a little different with Jersey, because that's even hard to describe. Like, I'll be honest, the last session we did with JD was straight up almost jazz-like. We're taking one off No Amends, and it's almost jazz-like, which, for JD, he was like, man, you do BLS, it's actually different to do something a little more jazz-like. By the way, if you've never heard him play piano, he needs to do a jazz record. Absolutely.
Well, hey,
you know JD, right?
Yeah,
you definitely, know him. Like
we don't know him. You know what I mean? It's there's so many people that we've been in various rooms with and acquainted with and may not know, but a lot of them is a similar circle with a lot of people, man. And hey, so I've got something for you here. I think you guys need like your own special shirt, and you could call it. I came up with the Infinite Mayan 1818 Projet. I thought that might be a good thing.
I like it. That's great.
That's great.
So I'm going to introduce you. Maybe I'll put that on a show poster this week. So we've got the Infinite Mind 1818 Projet with us, the duo of Cerzosie and Taylor.
That's awesome. And by the way, man, you know what? And this is crazy that I could even say this. I did get, I respect everybody's schedules, but I got a little conversation with Martin. And when I was like, hey, dude, look, people want more Le Projet. He's like, I'm sorry, man, but I can't do anything till November. I'm like, okay. November's fine, dude.
Right.
If November's the time. Because we do have, as far as Le Projet goes, we still have like 5 things, ready to rock. We just need vocals and stuff.
Right.
It's one of those things where Kevin's busy with a bunch of things. Everybody's busy. Nobody's time is more or less important than anybody else's. So it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I guess it's the blessing and a curse of what you've managed to do, man. You've managed to put together a group of nationally powerhouse people, and then when you have to get them together, that's probably the challenge. So
yeah, and what's funny too is, and God bless them, but Candlebox and Seven Dust are the 2 big houses when we're talking about Le Projet type stuff, and even the Infinite Staircase type stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we can talk about, but it's been so good for them that, you know, they're rocking. They're all doing very well. And so it does just come down to a time factor. That's really what it comes down to. So, you know, I've had a couple of weird comments from people like, oh, I guess you guys aren't a real band type of things. Like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's just, trust me, once we have time again, we're going to do it, because you also don't want to force anything either.
We're the vacation band. When they're at their house, they're like, you know, we need to get away for a while. Where's Jimmy and Len? Let's go do that.
You're exactly right. That's how, you know, F this. Let's just do something silly and fun and sincere and see what happens, you know.
Well, hey, we're gonna do a little bit of music from like a whole. You know, I look at the clock here; it's a lot. It's a nice long segment. We're gonna do a little bit of music from a little bit of everything you guys do tonight on a rock show. So, Lenny Cerzosie, Jim Taylor of the Mind Factor, The Infinite Staircase, 1818, Le Projet. What I miss? Something probably, and yeah, all that good stuff.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Def Leppard, whatever.
Sure, why not?
Guys, thanks so much for being here on the show. I really appreciate it, as always.
No, thank you, man.
Thank you for having us.
You know, and for the record, you know, you've been there with us forever, man, and we appreciate it. We love you, man. Thank you so much.
Indeed.